Hey! So we're in Croydon Conference Centre. In Croydon, we're here for the Dropzone Commander Open Day and Tournament. Have a look around. So we have all of our players in place. We have the fine Mega Man Louis. This guy is like David Banner. You know, if you get him in the right mood with the right amount of beer, he goes green and just wrecks the town. Croydon is such a party town when he's around.
It is.
So over here, we have a ton of stuff for sale. We have the magnificent Dave Lewis. Say hi, Dave. Hi, Dave. Over here, we have a load of stuff on display. There's some new bits and pieces going on. Let me show you something new here, Dave. Tell me all about this. Come here.
Largest kit we've made so far. This is the orbital defense laser. It's enormous. It's effectively an anti-spaceship weapon. If we've got an infantry figure around here somewhere, there we go.
Yep.
But these are Shaltari guys, so these are in 7-foot tall war suits, so they're not exactly small, but that gives you an idea. This opens as well, so there's a
door.
There's a door in the front, just for the hell of it, you know, because there is.
Who's this for?
This is actually UCM and resistance tech.
Uh-huh.
It's a very old design, so the UCM still use it.
So I could put one of these in my army, could I?
What, you don't pay points for this. This is a scenario object.
Okay.
So there are scenarios built around this thing.
Wow.
So, for example, one of them, these will come in the scenario packs like the monorail with scenarios. One of these ones for this, there'll be a balanced one where both players are trying to achieve the same goals.
Yeah.
And another one which is attacker defender, which is never the most balanced games because it depends on how you lay out your scenery.
Yeah.
But in that one, the attacker will have to capture it from the defender, who is in the middle of a city, and use it to destroy the city that it's in. It'll just go, just burn through all the buildings.
Cutting it in pieces.
It's no good for shooting things on the battlefield because it's designed to shoot spaceships many, many miles away, and waves of dropships coming down from orbit from well off the table because it can't move very quickly. I mean, the thing would weigh like hundreds of tons to move around. It's a serious bit of kit. It's a very heavy bit of resin.
Beautiful.
Just
Lovely
as
work.
detailed as everything else, though.
Right. Follow me, because I have something else I want to show you. Thank you, Dave. Okay, over here is one of the most exciting things for me for the whole direction that Dropzone's going, and it's because of this man here. Get a picture of him. Get a picture of him, quick. This is Patrice. He's the artist that has just joined the team of Hawk Wargames.
Yeah.
Come and have a quick look, okay? Now, it'll only be a very quick look, because I'm going to do a dedicated video on this, but blah. Okay, right, so that's a quick look at that, because I am going to take some time to go through that. Right. 5 games, I believe. Lots and lots of different types of scenario. I think it's time I go and get ready to do battle. So the tournament's about to kick off. First game. Okay. This game, what is this game? What are we playing?
So this is the standard
This
scenario.
is Guy, by the way.
Nice to meet you. Standard scenario for Dropzone,
Yep.
which is played a lot. It's 3 objectives across the middle.
Yep.
And then you've got 1 on either corner. So 1 in your side of the board, 3 across the middle. The 1 in your side, it's almost a given that you're going to get it, unless you're playing me. PHR, they absolutely own the building destruction side of the game. So it's more than likely I'm going to try and take out your building.
Don't tell me your tactics yet,
I'm
man.
sorry.
Don't tell me your tactics yet.
That's what they do.
Right, well, I'll stay out of that
the
one.
objectives.
Well,
once it's buried, gone forever.
I'm playing UCM, Guy on PHR. Let's see how we get on.
How we do.
So this is After Action Report 1. I've just played Guy, and I won. I'm embarrassed about this. I cannot say that I won because I had help from my opponent.
It's true. I'm not a tournament gamer.
Yeah, well, we've had the most amazing.
It's been a crazy game.
Fantastic. It's just it was such a tight game. It was such a tight game, and one of the great things about Dropzone Commander, Dave, I'm praising your game here. Don't get cocky. One of the great things about it is that the command cards bring such a level of unpredictability to the game.
Right.
If I was playing a game of 40k, right, you could read your opponent and you would know exactly what he can and cannot do. The command cards, though, start to give you options that he doesn't know about, and it just changes the whole nature of the game. And it was those command cards, ultimately, that won it for me. Yeah. So I had one, it came down to the last turn. A command card allowed me to rush some guys from one building into another, which you just normally can't do.
Yeah.
I had no other means of getting them there, only for that command card. And that was enough to seize it and win it.
And what it really comes down to, there's a counter command card as well. So if I'd had that, I could have held it back.
You had the counter.
Yeah. Everyone has the espionage.
It's an espionage card.
Yeah.
So if you played that, you still have a chance to cancel it.
Yeah, you can usually deal with it that way. Every race has that card in the deck.
Anyway, as you'll know by now, I was playing UCM. You were playing PHR. And he had one of them big Hades jobbies on the table. Yeah. They're fearsome.
Gotta love the rail cannon.
They are fearsome. I really didn't know what to do with it. So most of the game, I was just trying my best not to get taken over with shiny syndrome, and I was trying to ignore it.
I've
got to say, ignoring it's probably the best. It's an area denial unit rather than a straight-out damage dealer.
Yeah, you can deal more damage for the points than with the Hades, but the Hades is just so hard to kill, and it can heal itself. It can heal things nearby.
Yeah,
it's real. This is my piece of board.
I didn't even realize it could heal itself.
This is my piece of board. You know, if you're going to kill it, you've really got to focus and try and kill it outright really quickly. If you're going to want it dead, then that's the way to do it.
There was a turn when I brought down an immense amount of fire on it, and even then I only did 2 damage on it. It has 6.
That's going to have been bad rolling though, probably. It's got armor 9, so it's not the heaviest armor in the game, but it's just got a lot of damage points and it can heal itself, so it's a real sort of...
Yeah, well, the other hot tip is whenever you get your Hawk starter set, there's a little bag of black dice in there. Chuck them in the bin. All right, just take them and chuck them in the bin. They only roll 1s, okay?
He threw some dice at me halfway round. I've been going round. I've been going round all the other tables, so I didn't watch the whole game. But he's like, you see these dice, you can have those.
Yeah, they were shocking. Anyway, it was a fabulous game. It came down to. What was the victory points? It was 9.
11-9 to you, and then there's bonus victory points at this tournament, so it added 2 more victory points to you.
Yeah. So it was
a 13.
A 13-7, because any bonus points you get, the other guy gets them as minus.
Yeah.
So. But in saying that, it was fabulous. Thank you for such
an
amazing game. Now, I've got a plug. I've got an amazing plug to do. This guy runs a gaming store here in Croydon. It's a fantastic place, so I've been hearing lots about it. It's called
Heroes and Legends Games.
So if you're ever in the London, Croydon area, and here's a hot tip for you, if your sat-nav when you're coming down the M1 says, there's been an accident, we're adding 52 minutes to your journey, click here to save 17 minutes, don't click it. Don't click it. You will be on the road through central London for another 4.5 hours, okay? But once you get through, you can go to Heroes and Legends Games. What all have you got going on in there?
So we've got a fantasy tournament coming up, probably in the same venue, 60 people. So check that out. Yeah, that'll be good. And then we stock a whole range of independent games, including Dropzone. And the guys' office is just around the corner. So we do game testing, other bits like that, all in store.
And you're open 24/7, 7 days a week, including Christmas Day.
6 days a week. We close Mondays, and we've got game nights Wednesday 10 p.m. and Friday till 10 p.m. as well.
Wow. Okay, guys, we'll be back with After Action Report number 2. Right. Jason plays UCM. I'm playing UCM. The mission is recon, which means that every building on this table potentially has a piece of intel in it, but it might also have a booby trap. So on a roll of a 6 when we get into a building, we get the intel and it becomes an objective. On a roll of a 2 to 5, we get the intel, and on a roll of a 1, it's a booby trap, and everything starts to go pear-shaped. Anyway, I'm going to get my army out. I'm going to get my game head on, and I'm going to see what happens. Stay tuned. So now it's time for After Action Report number 2. Yes, I've had my second game. Oh boy, that was a slog, that one. So this game was very interesting. Every building on the board had a piece of intel in it, and you basically you had to get your troops into a building. You rolled off to see if there was intel in there. On the roll of a 6, there was not only intel but an objective. Intel's worth 1 point, objectives are worth 2. On a roll of a 2, 3, 4, or 5, it was just a piece of intel, and you just took it away. And that gave you a point. On a roll of a 1, it was a booby trap. And it damaged the building and hurt your guys inside. So, it all started really badly for me at the roll-off for which side of the table I was on. Because it wasn't until after we rolled off, I'd lost. This is Jason, by the way. My enemy. When Jason said, "That's okay, I'm lazy. I'll just stay on this side of the table," which, to be fair, I would probably have said the same. And then I realized that he had twice as much building density on his side as I had. Yeah,
kind of helped a bit. Yeah.
So there was a ton of intel on that side, but it was a closely fought thing for a while.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
it was. I managed to get an objective off the board, so
Yep.
I salvaged a couple of points that way. I had 2 buildings blow up on me because of booby traps. If they hadn't, who knows? But we could play the whole games of if this hadn't happened, that hadn't happened.
If I hadn't used the loaded dice, I probably would have lost.
It was very, very intense. I loved it. I learned so much during that particular game, and this is the beauty of these tournaments. I learned this from the Flames of War tournament. You turn up here and you don't necessarily even really need to know very much how to play. If you've had a couple of games, turn up to something like this, because guys like Jason keep you right and say, you want to check this, and if you're about to make a terrible error, like flying in front of every piece of reactive fire he has on the board, he was good enough to say, don't want to do that, really.
I was just putting him off all the tactical maneuvers. I'm sorry, yeah.
Now, you've been playing Dropzone on and off for quite a while now. You're a friend of Dave's from school and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
What's your key tips? What do you reckon is your key tips?
It seems to be more on the anti-air.
Yeah.
I noticed with Warren's army, you only had 1 unit of anti-air, and I could manoeuvre my forces all over the battlefield. And that was from the start. Just looking at your army list, I could work out what I was doing. Seems to be at the moment anti-air is the way to go.
Yeah.
With all the lists.
Because I did find myself being outmaneuvered. I find myself being closed down pretty much from turn 2 on. I felt my options were being limited by you. I felt my options were being really limited. My movement was being limited because if I moved out, I was going to get reaction fired, and I didn't have very much to deal with. For example, you were running 2 of them Ferrum, so you had 16 drones on the board. That's not the worst. I've heard there's people running 4 of these things. You know, it's 32 drones around the place.
Yeah.
They did a magnificent job in closing down areas of the board where suddenly it neutralized the effectiveness of quite a wide area of stuff that I had on the table.
Taking out those key targets at the right times just to stop you reacting afterwards.
The other thing is the good players never panic. So while I'm pummeling at buildings, trying to bring them down, they're just going, it's all right, I'll nip out at the end. You know?
I must admit, you did take out 2 buildings.
I did my best. So, you run the store. Tell us more about this store and what you've got going on in it.
Guys and gals, we have a new store opening in Bromley, southeast London, called Wargaming.
Yeah.
I'm going tonight after the tournament to finish doing a lot of the plasterboarding and working, but hopefully be up in about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And we're going to release a date.
So towards the end of February,
Towards the end of February, and I'm sure we'll talk to our friends at Beast of War regarding release date. And great discounts, great competitions, prize money, all sorts.
days, happy days. Well, look, if you fancy checking it out and you're in that area or you're visiting that area, go find Bromley. Other than that, thank you
Fantastic
for
work.
an
Thank
awesome
you.
game.
Cheers.
Loved it. Stay tuned. Game 3, I'm playing David here, and I'm finally getting to play Shaltari. I've been looking forward to this. I was really hoping I'd get a game against the Shaltari, and David's gonna give me a lesson. He's gonna give me a lesson. So in this game, basically we have kind of like 5 objectives, and it's all about bringing armor and points down on those objectives to try and win the game. So, David, best of luck.
Good luck to you,
Looking forward to this. We'll get back to you once it's over. So I've been utterly beasted by David. I mean, 20-0.
20-0, second one of the day.
This tournament has went the opposite way my Flames of War experience went, where lost, win. This is win. It's kind of held my own a little bit, but lost, and then this one utterly
Annihilated.
decimated.
Utterly destroyed.
By this man here.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. He played Shaltari, and I didn't know what I was looking at, and I did the classic mistake of not being able to formulate a game plan in my head.
Yeah.
And then I came up with a stupid game plan. And the game plan was, what do? I know what I'll do. I'll destroy the buildings on his side so as I can focus on this side. But all I did was make him come forward and get extra 4 points.
And his ones on his side of the board are worth less VP anyway, so...
I got the whole mission back to front.
Should have blew your own buildings up. Should have blew your own buildings up.
I should have blown my own buildings up and just moved forward.
Yeah. He needs a drink now.
That's exactly what I should have done. Is just blown my old buildings up and then just move forward.
Or focused on one thing, then focused on another. Because I was going around the whole tournament and looking at all the boards, and Warren's game plan was a bit... He was trying to do one thing and then thought, that isn't working, I'll try and do that. That isn't working, I'll try and do that. And then by the time you've done that, you've not really done anything. And you've sort of...
It was utter chaos. Utter chaos.
Yeah.
But all fair play to this boy here. He was magnificent.
It was very sort of tightly knit formation.
Yes.
The Dream Snare Walker combo, which is pretty hard to deal with. A nice big bunch of grav tanks on one flank, which was again hard to deal with because of the speed.
And kept all his troops, who were devastating, by the way. Kept all his troops right until the end, and then with immense discipline, just kept them to that turn 5 when time was starting to run out, and then jumped them forward, and then just caused me all
Good way to win a focal point mission. Pounce near the end with infantry,
As
especially.
missions go, as much as it was frustrating for me, I enjoyed it immensely because it was. Now I've had time to step back from it, and David's now telling me what I should have done. It's all becoming clear to me. Now I could probably go to it with a game plan and better understand it. And to be fair, for anybody that's attending a tournament, your first tournaments are going to be like this, because you can look through the tournament packs and stuff like that, but unless you have experience of playing these missions, you're not really going to understand what it is you're looking at.
Yeah, and you're gonna make mistakes, and mistakes are costly most of the time. And I think if you've got a game plan, stick to it. Maybe sometimes that's kind of part of it. But
well, getting a game plan would be a good place to start.
Get a game plan,
David, all I can say is thank you, mate. That
No
was
problem.
a fabulous game. I absolutely loved it. So, and someday me and you are going to get a rematch, okay?
That's no problem.
So that's the last game of today. We will see what tomorrow brings.